Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you're doing well. Want to take a second to talk about this really epic sounding, somewhat conceptual mashup project that's been getting a lot of responses over the past couple of days. Good Kid Twisted Fantasy. Yes, it's a Kendrick Lamar / Kanye West mashup series. This thing is like 21 minutes and change. Apparently there's a backstory to it that we're going to get into in a moment. But first I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, the good people over at The Ridge. Of course, they're still making these awesome, nifty, shiny, sexy, rugged, metal-plated wallets. Check out the link down below and grab one yourself via that link. Promo code MELON for 10% off. So again, as I said, the beginning of this mashup project, we're not just getting into the music. My God, we're going into the future. It is the year 2050. Apparently, we're still mashing up these records in 2050. Drought, famine, and extreme weather threaten to end human civilization as we know it. Oh my God! Have we passed the Green New Deal yet? Did that happen? We haven't slowed down climate change at all? What do we need? We need a mashup, bitch! Okay, going on from there, we have Kanye West. He has been missing for 30 years. You know, the other day they announced that space hotel. I imagine in 30 years, Kanye will just be chilling at the space hotel. That's probably where Kanye is going to be. It is rumored that he and his family have retreated from the public eye by launching themselves into outer space. Holy shit, I knew it. Also, was this written before the divorce thing? Did him and Kim get back together? Oh my God, maybe that's what happens. As usual, Kanye is ahead of his time. Today, many believe abandoning the planet may be our last hope for survival. You know, there are a lot of people that believe that now, and if Kanye is able to do that, believe me, it's not going to be because he's super ahead of the curve or perceptive about it or anything. It's most likely going to be because he has the money to do so. President Barron Trump orders the construction of a massive space shuttle. Its mission is to colonize one of Jupiter's habitable moons, 500 million miles away. The super rich have purchased tickets for this journey. In addition, a select number of scientists, doctors, teachers, and artists are invited on board with the intention of rounding out the new society of the moon. Among them is 63-year-old Kendrick Lamar, who was named Poet Laureate of the mission. He initially declined, knowing that his family and friends would be left behind on Earth. That would sort of be almost like a TPAB survivor's guilt situation all over again. He's just surviving now the destruction of the Earth and going into space. Eventually, however, his loved ones convinced him to accept, for the culture, his friend Ab-Soul had said. Both men knew that they would never see each other again. As a flight attendant, Kendrick, he's a flight attendant? Well, I mean, he's like, you know, he's attending the flight, but he's not a flight attendant. Right? He's not just like there to serve drinks or nothing. Oh, sorry. I misread that. You could just cut that part. As a flight attendant leads Kendrick down the aisle of the shuttle, he wonders if there is still time to change his mind. Oh boy, rethinking it. He is placed in a cryogenic sleep chamber where he will lie unconscious for the remainder of their 6-year trip. The attendant asks if he would like to listen to any music as he falls asleep. Choose carefully, she adds. This may be the last thing you hear for a very long time. Kendrick requests an old favorite, an album that had always inspired him in moments of uncertainty. My mom used to love Kanye too, replies the flight attendant. She pushes a button. The chamber lights dim. As Kendrick drifts into deep cryosleep, the album begins to speak to him like never before. All right, so having said that, let's embark on our 6 years of Kendrick Lamar, Kanye West cryosleep. Ba-bam.
What the hell do I know? I'm just a Chi-Town nigga with a nice flow. And my chick in that new BB though. So much head I woke up.
Oh, we're here. Kendrick opens his eyes. He hears an alarm in the distance. There is an astronaut standing over him. In the dark glass of the astronaut's helmet, Kendrick can see only his own reflection. Where am I? He asks. Near Mars, the astronaut replies. Oh my Jesus Christ. It's Kanye West in a in an astronaut suit. We still have a world to save. Okay, they're gonna come back and save the world. Kanye's gonna run for president, and Kendrick is gonna be vice president. And that's just going to be how it goes. All right, so some general thoughts and assessments on this project. And first off, shout out to DJ Toasty and Toasty Digital for doing this and getting this out there. It was actually a very fun listen. And yeah, this is a pretty cool mashup project. I mean, look, at the end of the day, you could listen to this thing casually without buying into the whole space background narrative. I mean, it's certainly fun to read into that. And, you know, I think in a way it does tie in with some of the Gil Scott-Heron Whitey on the Moon, you know, vocal snippets that are placed throughout the record. I think that's, you know, pretty ingenious how that ties in overall. But for the most part, you know, what you're hearing here on this thing are a bunch of Good Kid beats, Kanye over that, a bunch of beautiful dark twisted fantasy beats, Kendrick over that, and they're kind of trading off very quickly across the length of the project here. And nothing, obviously, with the project being 21 minutes or so, is lasting so long that you're hearing like the entirety of a track. It's not like DJ Toasty is building these songs back up from scratch and is like, you know, redoing entire tracks into a gigantic like double album mega mix or anything like that. And honestly, if that were the case, while that would definitely be an impressive feat, I think just like from a listener's standpoint, that might get old after a little while because look, I mean, as fans of these artists, we've heard these records like front to back, done to death. We know every nook and cranny on both of these records. I mean, just merely hearing Kendrick rap a song of his from front to back on a beat from My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, just straightforward, doesn't necessarily sound like the most exciting thing in the world. What keeps things interesting, what keeps things edge of your seat on this project is the fact that DJ Toasty pulls all of these tracks together into a patched up medley with numerous songs and verses flying at you in every direction. Just as a few examples, you've got Higher and Backseat Freestyle coming together, Monster and Shireen coming together, Kendrick Lamar delivering that insane verse that he has from Mad City over the instrumental on Blame Game, which brings it an interesting level of elegance that it didn't feel like it had before. There are some moments that, in my opinion, don't necessarily go over perfectly. For example, hearing Kanye's verses from Power combined with Money Trees, like the 21st Century Schizoid Man samples don't make it into the final cut here, and as a result, I feel like those gaps of space do just run a bit awkward. Some of the vocal lines from the original Money Trees track melodically don't quite sync up with the instrumental in the background melodically too, and as a result, that feels a little sour, a little out of place. However, I did think it was quite impressive for DJ Toasty to give us a version of Poetic Justice with Kanye's verse from All of the Lights. And in order to recreate this moment, he actually went back to the source, the sample source from that song to sort of extend the version of this out. So certainly it was cool to hear DJ Toasty going a bit deeper here, not merely working with the instrumentals off of these projects, but doing his due diligence to at least get a hold of some of the raw ingredients from them. My last major criticism of this thing mostly hovers around this track over here, the Black Hippie Freestyle combined with Runaway, which, you know, to me, for a moment that obviously was trying to be a super profound, gargantuan spot on the record. I mean, how could you not want to try to achieve that? It is the Runaway instrumental. The track didn't hit quite as hard or feel quite as weighty as many other moments here, especially considering like how long this track is. You know, it seems like again, Toasty attempted to throw everything out here, including like a neat little quick switch up into the beat from Gorgeous. But overall, I don't know. I feel like this one really overstayed its welcome in Kendrick's vocals, while maybe he was trying to create a sensation similar to I guess some of the vocal distortion that Kanye used at a few points on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Regardless, Kendrick's verse just sounded very garbled. But having made that criticism and observation, I would like to say generally across the board, the sound quality of everything DJ Toasty is working with here is pretty good. It seems like he did his best to get his hands on the best sounding stuff, just so that it's a very clean, punchy, and rich sounding project that sonically doesn't do a disservice to any of the original instrumentals or verses a vast majority of the time. So yeah, I loved this mashup project. I highly recommend it to anybody who is a fan of either of these records, either of these artists, and to keep it with the space theme. I guess you could say this is almost like an overwhelming 2001 Space Odyssey montage type experience, but oriented around Good Kid, Mad City and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. But yeah, give it a try. A lot of creativity shown on Toasty's part, in my opinion. We will link to this project down below so you can try it for yourself. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up, or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Kendrick Lamar, Kanye West, woo woo, forever.